Oh my days, I actually can't believe it. Alcaraz has dethroned Djokovic at Wimbledon to claim his second Grand Slam and his first Wimbledon title. And what a final it was. This deserved to be a 5-set epic, and it was the final everyone wanted, and it definitely delivered. So let's have a breakdown of the match and what this means for the tennis landscape as a whole. And before we continue with the video, 99% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you enjoy regular tennis content, do me a massive favour and hit that subscribe button. So, Alcaraz dethrones Djokovic in his favourite slam at Wimbledon, as he is the undisputed king of grass now that Federer is no longer on the tour. And you would think that the hardest place to beat Djokovic was at Wimbledon centre court, especially if it was a final, because like Rafa and in the final of Roland Garros, Djokovic almost brings like a different mentality to a Wimbledon final. And although he lost 10 years ago to Andy Murray, he lost again today to a 20-year-old Carlos Alcaraz. And it was just a monumental mental performance as well from Alcaraz. Like, you can talk about both of their mindsets, as Djokovic came out firing in the first set, whereas Alcaraz's level wasn't at the usual level it should have been. And Alcaraz got blown out 6-1 by Djokovic, because Djokovic was painting the lines with almost all of his shots and hitting very, very big off the ground. And it was very easily could have rattled Alcaraz and could have lost his focus and potentially given away an early break in the second set. However, it was very key that he won his final service game in that first set to make it a breadstick set. So he was able to continue with that momentum into the second set, and he got an early break. And despite the fact that Djokovic broke back, he was playing a lot better in that second set and managed to take it all the way to a tiebreak, which, if you were watching at the time, you probably would have thought, oh, yep, tiebreak, going straight to Novak, 2 sets to love, this is probably going to be a quick Wimbledon final. But Alcaraz had other ideas, staying very consistent, and it was Djokovic was the one who was making the errors, and he made 2 very costly backhand unforced errors, which gave Alcaraz a tiebreak, because all Alcaraz had to do was make one sublime return. It was basically identical to the Rune return set point in the first set, and yeah, he let out a lot of energy with the roar. I don't know if it was as big as the one in the quarterfinal, but then everyone knew we had a final on our hands. And then obviously the third set, what an iconic set for this Wimbledon final, as it had the most iconic game, the 27-minute game, and it took up almost half the set, because that set was an hour and it was 6-1. So, Wimbledon might need to update that video on their YouTube. I think it was Murray Federer 2015 semi-final. They said the best game ever was in that match. Well, they're going to have to update it, because this was in a Wimbledon final between an Alcaraz, who was really finding his feet, and then a Djokovic, who's a master of grass. And yeah, you really felt like it was a must-win game for Djokovic to stay in that third set. And similarly, it was a must-win game for Alcaraz in order to kind of build his confidence after losing that first set, for him to almost take a double break in that third set, kind of compensating for that first set. And he was able to break Djokovic, and I think Djokovic tanked that third set then. He just wanted to get his bathroom break so he could kind of mentally reset and then push hard in the fourth. And that's what we saw. So Alcaraz took that third set 6-1. Djokovic came back, roaring back, and took the fourth set 6-3. And then it was the most intense fifth set anticipation ever, because it was a 1-set shootout between these two amazing players, and it was on Nole's hands at the beginning there, because what was it? He had the swing volley at 1-love, 30-40, and he realised the ball was going in. He didn't want to hit the overhead, because I'm assuming he doesn't have extreme confidence in his overhead. It can falter at times, so he decided to go for the swing volley, which, by the way, he had been hitting the swing volley extremely well in that match. He was painting it quite close to the lines. So he hit the swing volley, and unfortunately he tried to go back behind Alcaraz, because he saw Alcaraz running cross court, and it went straight into the net tape. And then you really felt like that was Novak's opportunity to break and then clinch this Wimbledon title, clinch his 5th in a row, 8th to equal Roger. But no, it was 1-1 then in that 5th set, and then subsequently Alcaraz broke in that 3rd game of the 5th set with an amazing backhand pass down the line. Like, just incredible defense in that point, scrambling, managing to get the break, then holding his nerves all the way to 5-4, playing a bad drop shot, and then playing an amazing one right after. Just the mental performance that Alcaraz showed in that 5th set showed that he is a true champion, and he was worthy to take Nole's crown at Wimbledon this year. And then obviously the match point, huge forehand mistake from Nole into the net. Alcaraz is a Wimbledon champion, 2nd Grand Slam, and you can tell how much it meant to everyone, because you saw him after he celebrated and booted the ball into the crowd and threw his sweatband into the crowd, that him and Juan Carlos Ferrero had that really nice moment where they hugged each other, and Juan Carlos Ferrero was crying his eyes out. Could really tell how much this victory meant to them, especially because they probably thought Alcaraz had the level to beat Djokovic at Roland Garros merely weeks ago, and he did it now on an even more prestigious stage, because you would say that Wimbledon, kind of subjectively and objectively is kind of the most prestigious out of the 4 Grand Slams, and obviously the hardest place to beat Novak, and Alcaraz did it. And I think everyone knew what a special match they had just witnessed and what special talent he truly is. And it was a great match, a 5-hour match, as Djokovic said in one of the interviews post-match. It's great for tennis to have the world number 1 and the world number 2 playing a 5-hour Grand Slam final, and it really puts the sport in a good light, which is I 100% agree with, because a Grand Slam final just gives so much more attention to these players than like a tour level will ever will, because I'm pretty sure most of the people that were watching Wimbledon probably didn't know that they had met in Madrid last year with Alcaraz getting that amazing win, or even Roland Garros, for example, because the British viewers, for example, may not watch Roland Garros because it's not on their TV screens. You have to find it on their TV channels, on the Eurosport channel, for example. So them having a Grand Slam final on primetime television is just amazing for both their stardoms, especially Alcaraz's. Get a few more Instagram followers and stuff. I don't know, a few more brand deals. Yeah. So what does this mean for a tennis landscape as a whole then? So, as you could probably tell, these two are the 2 best players in the world right now. Usain Medvedev is a close 3rd-ish maybe, but he hasn't really performed at any of the Grand Slams this year. So apart from this one, even though he got blown out in the semi-final by Alcaraz, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. But Medvedev has the 2nd most titles this year behind Alcaraz, because they were level coming into Wimbledon. And then, so you would say that for the US Open this year, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Medvedev, 3 favourites. Slightly highly rated would be Alcaraz and Djokovic, just because of the specimens that they are. And you would say that it's quite difficult to see anyone else breaking that temporary big 3 mold that we kind of have now of those 3 players, because Tsitsipas hasn't looked consistent enough this year. Casper Ruud has had holes in his game this year, despite the fact that he still made the Roland Garros final. And if you want to take the second round final trajectory of the last couple of years of his Grand Slam results, then he should make the US Open final again based on that. But it's quite hard to see anyone breaking these guys from their top 3 podium positions until someone improves their game, or like a Sinner, a Holger Rune. I really think those 2 guys, like, we all know that we want that new mini big 3 of Alcaraz, Rune, Sinner to kind of build and blossom. But Rune and Sinner really need to step up their development game, because Alcaraz is he's taken that loss from Sinner last year in Wimbledon 2022, and he's improved on especially not getting rushed on his strokes, and really trying to implement his game on grass, and he has managed to do it, because he's come a long way from that Queen's first round match against Arthur Rinderknech, where he lost the first set and he was pushed all the way to a 3rd set tiebreak, and ever since then he's kind of been sublime. He didn't drop a set again at Queen's after that very first set he played. He only dropped 2 sets at Wimbledon to to a Berrettini, who we all know is a very, very good grass court player. Unfortunately, could not really bring his highest level to that match because he was just coming off injury, and he did well to even make the fourth round at Wimbledon. You know, he had some good wins over Zverev, Sonego, because obviously Sonego beat him a couple of weeks prior to that. And the other set Alcaraz lost was to Jarry, and Jarry has been playing amazingly this year. He pushed Alcaraz to 3 sets in the Argentinian Open, I believe it was, maybe, or it might have been Rio, one of the two. And, you know, Jarry is a very dangerous player because, as we all saw on clay, big serve, big forehand gets you far on clay. It also gets you far on grass because, you know, the serve is rewarded more. The bigger ground strokes that skid through the court are rewarded more. So Alcaraz had a very tough draw coming into this. I remember looking at the draw and thinking Alcaraz's draw is very, very tough. However, he's overcome it like he usually does, and he's managed to take the title away from Novak. So that was my review of Wimbledon / what happens to the tour now, the reaction to this, and got to say what Wimbledon final it was. Very happy to see Alcaraz claim his second Grand Slam. So thank you so much for watching and listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care and peace.